All right, well, let's get started. So, hi everybody. I do have this meeting recorded, and I will make it available shortly after today's call. And by shortly, probably a day or two later, I'll make it available. Looking forward to going through Siteimprove, but first I need to introduce who I am and what do I have, and just some confirmation on the screen. So I am Travis Vermeulen. I do recognize a decent amount of the names on today's call, so awesome that you come back. If you're brand new, you'll still get a high-level overview of what are we trying to do? What can Siteimprove help you with your website? And then where do you go for additional help? And then let me and also my colleagues over at the University System of Hawaii, and then also at your individual school or university, or if you're with the system, on how else we can help. This is something that I can do more of these, and we like feedback. We want to know what is something that you'd like to see and learn more about. So I'm Travis Vermeulen. I'm a Senior Principal Customer Success Manager here at Siteimprove from Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's where our headquarters are in the US. We're, as a company, headquartered over in Copenhagen, Denmark. Been with Siteimprove for 6 years, and I've been working with the university for probably going on 4 or 5 years now, pretty close to that. So I'm going to put one of my primary contacts. I'm going to try and unmute you really quick, or if you can. But Keith, if there's anything, Keith Roberts, if there's anything on your end, if you wanted to introduce before I dive into everything else.
Oh, no, just thanks for doing this for us, Travis, and welcome everybody who's joining us. Site Improve is something that the university is providing system-wide, so we highly encourage everyone to take advantage of it. I'll put in the chat our email address if you guys ever have questions for the accessibility team, with ITS or about Site Improve, and specifically, you can always send it to that address. But thanks again, Travis.
Awesome, of course. Yeah, you're very welcome, Keith. So looking forward to going through what we have today. So I'm just going to jump over, sharing my screen. So this is who I am, voice to face. Met some of you in person. I've been saying it for what, half a year now? Or, no, not half, I wish. A year and a half. Hopefully I'll be able to get back out on some of the different campuses, and we'll be able to present in person at some point. But today, kind of a refresher, just starting out with that first bullet point. But what are we doing here at Siteimprove? What do we have in the platform? What are we reporting on? For those that are in here every day, it'll be somewhat of a, okay, that's cool, that's confirming what I know. But I didn't know X, Y, Z on top of that. How are we collecting it? What else can we collect at Siteimprove? How often information is updated? As I've been hearing and working with people over 6 years, it's something that I just, when I get this opportunity after a year, after 2 years, it's good to come back to find out how real time is the information when I log into Siteimprove, or if I get a report, how do I get this data? Quality assurance, just jumping right down, just troubleshooting, something that simple, easy, it's all relative based on the ability that you have to edit the website, technical know-how. But what are some of the troubleshooting things you can do if someone said, hey, you're in charge of Siteimprove, or here are the pages a part of your website. We want you to monitor broken links and misspellings. So it's something that I do like to go through, because there could be a lot of reasons why we're reporting something that's broken. And what I don't want to have happen is I don't want you to go, well, that works for me, they're wrong, I'm not coming back to this. Some updates that we've had to our platform over the course of the year with the create and schedule dashboard, and how that's going to be taking over our reporting system. And then with accessibility being such a focus and the updates that we had, we did a webinar probably about going 4 or 5 months ago now, on the updated to next gen. But I get a lot of questions, Dylan. What does this scoring mean? How should I be going after issues that are presented in Siteimprove? With all of this, one of the biggest takeaways, if you're new to Siteimprove, if you have new team members, anybody can get access to this platform, a part of your university, part of your college, part of the system. We want to be able to make sure that we are covering the information that you're responsible for, or that your organization that you'd like a report on, part of your .edu is a part of that Hawaii system. So there's no user limit, and we do have the ability to cover a lot of your websites. And that's, I guess, just a plug too, as I'm asking, hey, let's scan your websites, let's crawl them, let's get the information into Siteimprove. My ask is on your end, if you're responsible for your website and you know you've been through a website redesign, you have changed from hawaii.edu to aboutus.hawaii.edu, and a pure example, I just pulled that out. Let us know if your website changed, if that URL changed on how someone would access that, because there's a lot of things that our support team can do, that I can do working with you to look at how did that impact your search engine optimization, being how Google found you, and then how it impacts Siteimprove too. Are we indexing the right pages? Are we going down a rabbit hole of indexing, scanning, crawling pages that we shouldn't have? So kind of heavy on the agenda right away to start out introduction with this. And again, it will be recorded, so I have that, and then I'll make it available later tomorrow for you to come through. I am going to be monitoring the messaging, so don't hesitate to type in, and then everyone should have the ability. I believe I've given the option to unmute yourself at any point. So if you're like, hey, I just need to ask this right now, feel free to unmute yourself. I'm not going to be offended. No one else on the call should be offended. It should be something where if you have the question, almost can guarantee you someone else has had that question, didn't ask it, or have asked it, and it's a good refresher for it. Looking for confirmation now before I dive in, and I promise I like to think I'm a normal user. Show me the platform, show me what I actually should be doing out here. So it's not all presentation, but Keith, I'll put you on the spot again. Can you see the agenda that I have up right now on my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. So easy enough to go through. So I'm going to start out with just the last slide that I have up here, and then we'll dive right into the Siteimprove platform. We'll see some of this, what I'm talking about, but I've already had a couple terms: scan, crawl, spidering, using those all interchangeably. For those that have been on these calls in the past, probably sick of hearing that, but it really, that's how we're collecting almost all of the data that we have in our platform. We are sending Siteimprove to your website to scan it. We're going through your indexing link so that your main domain, your main website, and then we are clicking on every link a part of your website, every link that's not a part of it. And we're trying to then pull that into our system and say, all right, this page is a part of your website. Let's save the information. We'll run accessibility checks on it. We'll run quality assurance checks, search engine optimization, and then we'll index the content so then someone can create a special rule to write on it. We should be doing this every 5 days. Some accounts within the university and within the systems have unique custom schedules. So for those of that you didn't know, we can customize your schedule. It's something that you can work on, work with us, being our support team, saying, hey, you know what, I really only want Siteimprove to come in every Monday morning at 1 a.m. So the scan will complete. I'll get in on Monday morning and I'll have my fresh set of results. I know we'll do some updating throughout, but that's what we're doing. We're crawling, scanning, spidering your websites to pull in this information. And then we're going to spit out and present a whole bunch of data to help make sure that you have visibility. If you're in leadership, to know, okay, what's my web presence? Do I have a lot of errors out there? Where do I need to put additional resources if people are spending time promoting content, promoting certain campaigns? And then on the liability side, am I putting out content that is not working? Are people running into issues? On the accessibility side, am I putting out content, putting out a website that someone using assistive technology, someone using a keyboard, someone on their phone trying to zoom in and doesn't have the ability to do? Am I putting out issues for accessibility? We'll dive into a little bit of accessibility today, and then my ask is follow up with me, follow up with the Siteimprove team, follow up in our help center. We have a ton of additional documentation on what can be done, how to use our platform. And then Keith, Mitchell Oshie, the ITS team at Accessibility has done a ton of work to help create internal resources to be able to help. So there's a lot of support out there. And we do understand that for some of you, the web is not your full-time job. Having to go back and remediate, that can be a lot of work on top of creating new content, creating things that are outside of the web, being able to report on other things within your department. So how do we get really focused and then being able to create a view where I'm in here, I know exactly what I should fix, this is a priority, and then relay that on to other people on your team. Hey, we have visibility that we may not have had in the past. So let's take advantage of this. Let's fix it before anyone else finds it. That way, no one's coming to you to complain, bring up an issue that you didn't know, and you're able to answer. If they do find one, yep, unfortunately, we know about that. Here are the steps that we're taking. We already indexed all the issues on the website. We have the prioritization part of our process right now. Because that's, again, I continue with Siteimprove, and I think everyone feels the same. It's not fun to get that question and you have no answer to, or no even like, you're the first one telling me this. So using some of the information that we have to say, okay, I at least knew this was out here, and I can tell that story on what do we need to do about going about it. I'm going to end on the kind of what we're doing though with everything coming in is we're pushing a lot of people towards the websites, whether it was pre-COVID, after COVID, even more people are going to get information. And it's not, hey, let's throw all of this information out here, let them find it. We put it out there, I did my job. No, let's try and do a good job of making sure that it's clear. It's easy to find. We have the ability to open it up. We can fill out the form, and all of this ties into overall website usability and website accessibility. So making sure that we have a well-built website, because a lot of time and effort goes into it, and then making sure that we can do some of those little updates so it doesn't take a ton of time, and we all kind of sigh and go, oh, I have 2 hours, I have 8 hours that I need to do to be able to just fix things on top of everything else. So I say that knowing easy on my end to say, but being able to create that priority issue list so we can go out and make those changes. So I'm going to jump in to the Siteimprove platform now. We're just going to use the main www.hawaii.edu as an example out here. So this is what Siteimprove is updating on average every 5 days. Again, give or take a couple days, and then the unique schedule. You have the ability, depending on your user status, your user role, to be able to recrawl a website on demand if we're not crawling it. You may have the ability to recrawl a web page. So let's say you went in and you fixed a broken link, you fixed a misspelling, and you want to be able to make sure, hey, did I introduce any other additional issues in there? Did I go in and fix it? So we have the ability to go in, and I'm going to dive into a single page because I'm going to pull one out and being able to show, hey, you know what? I went out, I fixed the misspelling. I'm trying to benchmark off my Siteimprove score. I don't want this on the web page anymore. So in our table views, which I hope have been pretty consistent for those that are in Siteimprove, having the ability to even do a simple refresh of a page, send our system to go scan this single web page, get that update so we don't have to wait for that full week, and being able to see this information in as near real time as we can be right now, being 1 to 5 minutes for those single page checks. The overall site scan, depending on the size of your website, it can take anywhere from a couple hours if you have, let's say, a couple 100-page website to 1,000-page, where if we're getting upwards of the 30,000-page websites, 50,000-page websites, and I think libraries, I think when we're pulling in more than just the main indexing URL, the main www.hawaii.edu, then they can get a little bit longer. And that's where we do things by default or out of the box to make these as efficient as possible. But everybody has the ability to connect with our support team. So we can work with you if we know, hey, you're going down a path that's a calendar. We don't need to scan those pages. It's just making the crawl longer. Nobody asked for them. Nobody reports on them. And we're not actually responsible for these. Help work with our technical support team to help adjust our crawls so they are efficient as possible to get you as near real-time data as you have on your website. But I did just that single page check. If you're in the platform and everyone has the setup, most colleges and universities, you're set up with your own Siteimprove instance. So when you log in, we should be serving you up with information that just you're responsible for. Another kind of takeaway, if you're in there today and you're like, I'm seeing stuff that I have no responsibility for, I don't know what's out there, I want to adjust my view, let us know. We can run another webinar campaign to show you how to do it. We have additional resources. It could be dependent on user role or how it would be. But even just something as, hey, I want to segment out the majority of this website to just the information technology pages. So now I can look at this data. If I'm only responsible for these pages, it's not that I don't care about the other parts of the website, but I want to eliminate the noise. I want to go in and find out just what I have. And it's this table view that I can rescan that single page. I'm going to open up one of these page reports because you can do it on the page report too. So we're out here, we're looking for words to review, potential misspellings. You're not getting docked any points for potential misspelling. It's one of those things that we want to flag, we want to show to you. And then if you confirm it as a misspelling, you'll get docked points. If you dismiss it, it goes away from the list. We'll stop reporting on it, stop flagging it. And I can see this one. Again, most users should have the ability to do this, and I can see Mac OS. All right, well, that's calling out specific operating system, obviously Apple. Yeah, we're not going to go in and change it. That's how it is. Apple doesn't, and I don't know this, so maybe I'm going to do this and you're going to go like, you shouldn't have done that. You can say, you know what, Apple doesn't care about that branding. That's exactly what it is. It's Mac operating system. So I'm going to approve this word. I can do it at this page only thing. Well, I know I own this page. It's not a problem. And this would be dependent on your user settings. Or if you're an account owner and administrator going, I don't want any of my users in here, you could do it across that entire account. So that's something too. I don't think of this, and it's not just cleanup. Saying I wouldn't say it's busy work because you are manually. Well, you're not manually. You're getting called out on items that can be reviewed. So this is something too where, hey, go make the website better. Go do this. It's easy to say, but where do you start? And that's really where Siteimprove can come in and help. And I can apply this and say, you know what, Mac OS, that's not a problem. Don't flag it. I don't want anyone to review that. That decision's recorded. And then the next time we come in and scan, we won't flag it anymore. So that's one way to go about it. And then also I'm on this page report. I can recheck, refresh that page. Same icon. It's going to do the same thing. So question came in, and this is where keep the questions coming because it's this conversation today. Everything's important, but I want to answer, you came to today, so I want to answer what your questions were. I think that will provide a lot of value. This is going to be dependent on your user role when we talk about how do I go about creating a group. There are a couple different ways, and it's going to be dependent on your user role, but then also what type of group do you want? So while I'm pulling up our help center, quick plug for that, I will actually chat this in, and then I'll go through it. So if you wanted to create a group, and think of a group as a way to segment out your website, the easiest way, I'm in quality assurance, inventory, and then I'm going to go to my sitemap. If I know I'm creating a group just by directory, just by folder, and I just want to segment out those pages. So right now I already have a group selected. Well, within information technology services, let's say I wanted a subgroup. I can go in and I have the ability to create a subgroup off of this. And actually I'm going to eat my words. So I can't create a group while a group is selected. So right now I'm looking at all of the pages coming in at www.hawai'i.edu. Think of this as your website, your university, your college. We now have, all right, here are our folders, our directories. I want to segment this out. This far right-hand side, I can then segment that out and I can create a group just based off those pages in that directory. If I had multiple pages and you know what, our URLs weren't consistent, we didn't have the consistency in our directories, there are a couple different ways that we talk about in our Help Center article, but you can do it URL based. So manually copying and pasting URL matches. So the different subsections you have the ability to do. And then I did content usability. I'll get into usability in a second because that's something that most of Siteimprove instances within the university are taking an advantage of, but not everybody. But then you can do just your matches, page title or URL. What you wouldn't know unless you asked is, let's say there's no page title consistency, there's no URL consistency in there. So I can't just say, hey, I'm going to do about, save changes, and then I'm going to do, you know what I actually want, about us because it's a different directory, different match up there, so I need to add in there. But I did have a breadcrumb, or I had a unique identifier on all of my pages, whether in the HTML or visible. That's something our support team can help you set up. So it would allow us to match on or capture specific elements on your pages to help group them together. And it is an awesome way to be able to segment your website into what is important, what could be fixed, what else do you need to work on. So either live chat or in that help center area, being able to submit a ticket directly to our team to help set up that capture tag. So a couple different ways to do it. You do need to be an admin or an account owner to set up a group, or a custom user role to be able to do it, which is another option. So if you don't see, hey, edit group, or in the settings, I'm just going to cancel this out so I don't go through with it. Create group, then we'll need to adjust your user access. Work with your account admin. Really simple on our end, but we do like having certain owners of the account because it does change the display. It does help out, but for a lot of these, I'll argue with you on why it could be, why it would be beneficial to be able to help segment out the website. So I'm going to go back just to the dashboard because I do want to close up with one of the bullet points of how often do we scan? What are we doing up here? We do it on average every 5 days. You do have the ability to rescan a single page on demand. And then if you're a part of a group, very similar button if we're not already crawling the website, recrawl it on demand. And then my ask out of you is, if we are scanning something that we shouldn't be, if we're going down kind of a rabbit hole of pages, whether they're duplicate, we have checks in place to try and keep us out of there, but let our support team know. We're pulling in content from some place that we shouldn't be. It's linked off of your main website. We've indexed that in, and there are logic reasons why we're pulling it in, but we can help adjust that. We can help alter what is going to be displayed within that system. All right, I'm going to keep clicking back to this dashboard to kind of refresh and start over. But what we're doing outside of, hey, we're scanning, crawling, great, we're looking at your overall site quality. Broken links, misspelling, how often is your content updated? So fairly, I would say simple and, hey, this is broken, fix it. Hey, this is misspelled, or this is something that's actually approved. It just may not be in the dictionary. That's fine. We've done a ton of work with everybody on website accessibility, following the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.1. Being able to report on this, we've been working for over 5 years now, well over that with some of the individual institutions, but this is where I still and continue to see a lot of work and effort, which is awesome. It's something that, I mean, when we've been on site, call on one of our consultants, it's always a process. You're adding new content, you're working with the content management system, you're working with built up website on your own HTML. It's something that changes. So having accessibility in mind is great, and you need to do it as much as we can get, say, left in that development process. That's something that you can work with us too. We do scan, and this is going to kind of lead me into other parts of how we scan and can collect content. We have worked with some of you on scanning a development website or a staging environment. So looking at something prior to going live, because it's always tougher to go back and try and figure out, it's live, it's in production. Not only can other people see it, but now I have to figure out, all right, I have to go fix this. It's already in production, but I'm being asked to create something new. What gets priority? And being able to make some of those decisions. So work with us. That's the takeaway is, hey, we may have the ability to scan some of your development environments prior to being published. So at least, again, that visibility and having that answer of, hey, we're going to launch with errors. So how many errors are we going to launch with? This project, once we launch, isn't going away, and having some of that visibility. Other parts, search engine optimization. We haven't spent, so my ask, I guess another ask, I'll have so many for today, but let me know after if anybody wants to do something specific on search engine optimization. And this is, how are your websites found by Google, Bing, Yahoo, Yandex, Baidu, all of the search engines use obviously their own unique but very similar ranking metrics. So what are those metrics that are causing problems for your website being indexed one? Are you competing with other content on your website, or competing with, let's say, Flagship, and saying, you know what, we're trying to be niche here. They may offer that course at Flagship, but we really do something different. So how do we help differentiate? What are we doing in our university so we're not competing with some of those keywords, or making that determination of, hey, this is worth to compete with? Kind of being that all, hey, we're one system up here. Let's make sure that we have the best content pushing out. So that direct ask is, let me know after today, because I'm not going to spend any time after just bringing it up. If anybody wants to spend time just talking about search engine optimization, because we do a lot in this, and a lot can be done both at the individual content contributor and at the high level network. How fast is my site loading, and being able to help identify and prioritize that. That's going to bring me into that usability that I brushed on. This is that site analytics that a lot of you have on your website with Siteimprove. Not everybody does. If you are in Siteimprove kind of following along, left-hand side usability, if you don't have it, it's just going to present you a JavaScript. So a whole bunch of, like, a whole bunch being, I think it's like 9 lines of code that will help us collect data on what pages are being clicked on. It's not replacing any of your enterprise analytics, but it's going to give you some really good insight and just some quick views of, hey, I'm in Siteimprove. What are my page views? What are my visits? It's a rolling 30 days of data, and that's why I'm not trying to sell it as an option to replace any of your enterprise analytics that you're using today. Today is not a sales pitch. If anybody wants to talk about enterprise analytics, let me know. We have that, but where you're really going to benefit from this usability is you get heat mapping functionality. So the ability to see how people are visually moving around your website, heat maps, click maps, scroll maps. See if anyone has. Oh, so we'll go to Foundation. I'll try Alumni really quick, see if they have one. But for those of you that are familiar with heat maps, very similar functionality. For those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about with behavior maps and heat maps, it's the visualization of how someone is navigating your website. What are they clicking on? So heat maps, scroll maps, going to be able to pull those in. And that's something that is included in this usability. So I believe the limit is 100 maps to be able to add in. So you can't do it on every web page, and I would argue don't do it on every web page. That's going to cause a lot of noise. So that's one big benefit of adding that usability script. And if you have it on, take advantage of the heat mapping functionality. Fun with the live demo and getting this just searching, but I don't want to sit on it too long. So I'm going to leave that window open and we'll come back to it. Because the other part that I just want to plug, it's the integrated analytics that you get with, oh, I know, X, I was on Alumni. But it's the integrated analytics that you get with this usability too. So having the ability to see, well, who's clicking on what? Easy on everybody's end to say, well, every link's important. You need to fix it. Well, yeah, but who's really clicking on it? We have close to 4,000 out here. Some are document, some we're not pulling in much or any data for the last 30 days, which then also leads to the question is, no one's clicking on it. Should we have it out there? Is it something that we need? If it's out there, nobody's clicking on it. Do I really need to spend the time remediating that information? And by remediate, I mean accessibility remediation. Because then you have to track down who owns the document. Do they still, is it still relevant? If they own it, do they have editing capabilities? And it's a rabbit hole, and it's a lot of work even tracking it down. So that's what I'm trying to help you get away from is, hey, we have this, it's on our webpage. I don't own it. No one's clicking on it. Do we still need it out there? Is it, I just saw this really quick. Let's just say a student affairs, but it's student affairs from April 2012. Well, is that still relevant? I know this isn't from 2012, but it's just for imagination purposes, helping you clean up the website too and help remove some of that content that you may not need. So that's the usability functionality. It is adding a script to your website. It's different than the capturing of data through the scans, but I highly recommend it. I think that'd be a really good option to be able to take advantage of that heat mapping functionality with usability. All right, I'm going to take like I'm going to try and do a 15-second pause to see if anybody has any questions. We'll see if I can get that long, and then I'll keep going. All right. I didn't see any questions come in. If you're fiercely typing, keep doing it. Let me know. But I want to jump into the broken links, the quality portion of it. And hey, Siteimprove is reporting this as broken. Is it actually broken? Do I need to go in and fix it? I can't find it. They're not highlighting it. So some of these, they are truly broken. You need to go in and fix them. Other ones, it's worth reaching out to our support team. And I'm going to call out just this first one. I'm calling out this one specifically. Manoa Hawaii EDU Public Health Directory. And I'm not going to butcher my Hawaiian, say that last part. So I'm going to open it up. But what you're going to see is I did two things. First, I clicked on the link, and I get served with access denied. I'm in Minneapolis on my computer and my machine. I'm outside of your network. My guess is this is very intentional because it's resources for faculty that I shouldn't be able to get to it. But then that brings up the question is, if that is just out there on our web page, clicking on it, and in context now that I look at this on her name, should that link go somewhere? Because it's on her name as we click on it, it is acting like a broken link. I can't get to it. I served up with this. Well, this is weird. Why do I get this? So that's why we report as broken. But if you're in your network, and I'm pretty strong on this one, believing that's what's happening, you're going to be able to get into that web page. You might see, well, that's actually working. Siteimprove's wrong. Really not. So that's where, if you ever have a question, it's kind of a long-winded way to come back to say, if you ever think that, hey, we're reporting something as wrong, there could be a couple reasons on, hey, we're being blocked. It is inside an internal network, or it's a crawler being blocked. So by a crawler, that's Siteimprove. So there's some things that we can do to help us get in. But my ask is, let us know, because I don't want you to have to go to a bunch of pages that you go, that's working for me. I don't, this software is telling me a whole bunch of things that I don't need to fix, because there's a good chance it's causing problems for search engines and causing problems for people outside your network. And that's that 403 specific one. Okay, and the comment that came in, that could be just maybe a miss, it could be missing some HTML to that link that's not causing it to render. Some other ones, 503s, 429s, what are these? I'm not asking anyone to start being an expert in HTTP status, but some of this is telling us, and how we've broken it out is, they could be a problem, but it's something that you should review. And I always try and think of different language, but I think we did a good job. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a link that needs to be reviewed. Why is it out here? If I click on it, what happens? I can see that there's test in there. So this could be something too with these 503s, is may work for you, but also if it's out there, was it hard coded that it really shouldn't be out here? Annual events. If I get out to this web page and highlights, now I'm on this web page and it works, what's going on? Contact Siteimprove, let us know, let us investigate. And while I'm out here, so the good and bad, I didn't find a great one for a test case as I was clicking around. So kind of pour on me, I'll take the full blame. But what I know a lot of people run into, we get out to a broken link on this page report and you can't find the highlight. We're telling you that something's out there, but you can't find the highlight. So this is some of the troubleshooting I recommend before reaching out, if you're needing to connect internally, or before reaching out to Siteimprove to help find out, where is this? Is it actually broken? So let's imagine I can see this whole highlight, but it's that original story. Top part of this, disable your CSS, see if that helps pull out that highlight, or go right into the HTML. Even if you're not a developer, a coder to be able to come through, it's a really good just troubleshooting spot to see, well, is it even highlighted in the HTML of the website? I don't have to understand what all of these divs mean, the footer classes, but is there a link out here that's highlighted? And if there's not, if you ever get to show HTML view and we told you there's a link broken and we're not highlighting it, then that could be a couple things on how the links are rendered within the browser, but it's something that when we're coming in, we're finding a discrepancy on your website from when we scanned it from what's being presented. And it's something that may have the potential to be fixed, but you need to connect with us. So that's a very like 7-8 minute way of saying, don't go in, dismiss everything, and then kind of just a plea on my end for Siteimprove is say, don't dismiss in the term of the Siteimprove dismissal. Don't dismiss everything. They're like, well, they're wrong. It works for me, because there could be other problems. And that's where connect with me, connect with our support team to help investigate and let you know, hey, this is why you need to go in and actually fix it, or why it's being called out. So the troubleshooting is get out to the page report, either disable CSS, show HTML, and if it's not highlighted, don't hesitate to connect with our support team. Again, we have live chat, I want to say till about noon, your time, noon 8 HST. So fairly okay coverage. I won't try and promote it more than it is. And then again, anyone can submit a support ticket as you're coming through. All right. So let's say I log into Siteimprove. Early on, I talked about, hey, let's get something focused. Let's look at what you're responsible for. I get this dashboard. Well, great. I still have no idea what this dashboard means. So why should I work off of it? We have the ability to customize this dashboard. And this dashboard, the customization, is going to be our reporting system as we move forward. So anybody that's been using our settings and reports, it's still supported today. But again, the dashboard, I clicked in the wrong spot. The dashboard is going to be taking over as the reporting module and being able to schedule out a report. I know I'm trying to sell it as a Siteimprove employee, but it really is awesome because we can combine specific widgets. We can pull out tables, having the full customization of everything that we have on this left-hand side to be able to display when you first log in and send via email to leadership, to end users that are, hey, you're responsible for this specific part of the website. So I do want to do just kind of a live demo on how to create this. I'm just going to go new dashboard. I'm going to make it shared so everyone I'm doing this in the system account so everyone can see this. But let's say priority issues. And now I can pick and choose. So let's say the rest of August, I really want to focus in on broken links. And eventually I'm going to get even more customized. I'll show you how to segment it down further. Whether it's the ellipses or an export button, that's where you should see in almost any table view. We're going to add it to a dashboard. So I got my dashboard set up. I have it 50%, broken links. Say, John, this is you. I didn't look at the attendees. So John, if you're on here, sorry, I'm not calling you out. Just as an example, I'm going to add that widget. I already know exactly what I want. So then I'm going to do another page up here. And I am going to, I should have scrolled. So I'm going to come back out and I'm going to do the export and say, all right, so broken link, yep. I also want misspellings. I'm going to do another export for the misspellings that come through. This one's the export button on that right-hand side. We're going to add the widget. Misspelling, customization, there this is you. Having the ability to kind of turn this into also like a working dashboard. So when we log in, what should we be doing with this? All right, QA, great. Now I have accessibility. It's a big focus. Something that most people can touch on is image missing alt text. So we're going to throw that in there. I'm going to go to issues. link without text alternative, and then I'm going to do that very similar export. So I'm not going to go through the whole platform, but why I wanted to just highlight this is to be able to show you that you can combine information, turn it into a working dashboard. What I would say, just a broken links, misspelling table views, a very specific accessibility issue. This is more of a working dashboard. So as you're working with your teams, as you're trying to just get a better handle on, I don't want to, for yourself, I don't want to click into everything. Okay, what am I going to work on? Have it all in one spot. You can get pretty customized too. Let's say you wanted to brand this, being able to put in your image widget, your logo of your university or college, even additional text widgets. And this is something I've had a lot of people start to take advantage of these texts. What I would say is simple on the surface. Oh, why do I need to type something in here? To actually give context on, if I'm sending this to my leadership team, what should I be looking at when I see this? If I'm sending it to my users, okay, what do you want me to do with it? So some of that task management. And then if I'm sending it to myself, just kind of that reminder of what should I be working on? What is my focus for today? So having some of the column breaks in here, text, images to make it look nice. And then reports, having the ability to schedule this out. You log in, it's a Siteimprove dashboard, and then now I can segment this out. Depending on your user role, you have the ability to create that templated dashboard of, hey, I don't care what site I'm creating this on, I'm eventually going to apply it to different groups up here. Email addresses, select the cadence of when am I going to receive this, turn it into the time zone. And then again, another option to put another note in here. A big plug for this, something that I was super pumped that it was created with. In this emailed report, it presents information in the body of the email. We all get so many emails. So sometimes I just need a glance to see, did it jump up from 100 to 200? Okay, well, I need to go in and take action because something changed. Maybe I just need that quick glance to see, all right, 627, that's what it was last week. We added some new content. We didn't get any worse. All right, great. We'll keep moving on with it. But you get it in the body of the email without having to download it in. And you can send this to people that are not in Siteimprove. My suggestion would be, hey, they would benefit from it and they're not in Siteimprove, let's add them in, let's get them set up in some training, but having that full option too. If you don't see this report, send schedule, that means you don't have the proper user profile today. And again, that's something that can be updated pretty quick. I've worked with admins where, hey, I'll control it, I'll get you set up for it. And I've also worked with people to set up, again, custom user roles where you'd have access to do that. That is, I think I won't say another one on a takeaway. This is going to be my biggest takeaway for those of you that are already in our system. Take advantage of these custom dashboards. Really segment and prioritize to what would be a focus for you. That way it's easier for you to benefit from this information. I'm just going to go in and delete this. And my last comment on kind of that text widget, as you're working with whether it's a new team member, as you're trying to help out with not only what do you want me to do, but explain an issue. Hey, we're using Cascade, we're using Drupal, we're using WordPress. This is how you'd actually go in and fix it in WordPress. So it's trying to tie in some of the workings into the reporting system that Siteimprove is into the system where they're going to be making the edits. And that's where I've had some people using the text widgets in there to put that in. So we're coming up to the 45-minute mark, and I have about 5 minutes in accessibility, and then that was going to be the core of the content, and I'm more than happy to hang out for a while on any other questions that come in. But next-gen website accessibility, everybody should have access to this, and I believe all accounts still have our classic module up. If you just have one up and it's just our issues, potential issues, and we just have the progress towards target, it means someone had made a decision to say, let's switch fully to next gen. I will let you know specific date. It's still a while out when we're going to force you to, but my recommendation as we get new users on board at some point, and I can work with you on whether it's communication, but we make that full switch, but we're not kind of that drop date to just have the one right now is December 15th of 2021. So still a couple months out, but end of this year, we'll just have that one next-gen accessibility. So I wanted to talk about the scoring, what it looks like. Just mentioned it has been updated. We have a ton of Help Center articles that talk about more of that one-to-one. But I've been having a lot of conversations with people on, what is the potential issue versus an issue? Does it make sense to go through these? And absolutely. What we have in Siteimprove, there are automated issues that can be found. Automated being it was found by a scan, a crawler, a spider. We have readily identified that these are in violation of the WCAG guidelines, a part of so many fun acronyms, the ACT standards, the Accessibility Conformance Standards. So we have readily identified that these are problems and they need to be remediated. Those are the automated tests. Potential issues, we have semi-automated, where we can identify there's an issue out there, but we wanted to call it out and say, may need a manual review. And I did want to spend some time, not as a way to game the Siteimprove scoring, because by doing these reviews and making some of these changes, you can see right here, that's a lot of points that we can have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, close to say 12 points. I know don't call me out on my math with all 9.1, but we can get a lot of points right here. Yes, there's a lot of occurrences, but my guess is when I see 70, 70, 70, 70, and 23 pages consistently, it's going to be the same video on every page. So if you review it on one page, it's going to make that decision. And what Siteimprove has done is it's gotten smarter. It's going to recognize that decision and figure out how it appears on the other web pages and apply it there. And it's not an arbitrary review. You're going through and doing something that you otherwise wouldn't have known to call out, and you can get a lot of points for it. So is there an alternative to this visual content in this video? So if it's visual content, do I have a text alternative? Do I have a description telling me, what's playing? It's something that's a part of the guideline. And I can open up one of these pages, we'll call it out. And by looking at those points in the potential reviews, if you've determined that, hey, this isn't a problem, this is something that we do have a text alternative to it, make that decision. Let our system know that you have made this text alternative. You don't have to go through and meet additional criteria for it, and approve that. That way you'll get that 1.91 points. You've had manually reviewed part of your website for potential accessibility issues, and then you're able to show that progress up there. So it's taken a little bit to load on my end as I'm doing this live, but here we go. We'll walk you right through. You can see, well, here it is, that image file come in spring 2021. And this is something too that it's kind of outside of the review process, but if you see something out there that, well, hey, maybe it's not relevant anymore, well, instead of remediating it, having that ability to potentially remove. So I am kind of about removing content. I know that there's reasons to SEO to have it out there, but kind of calling out something that you may not have thought about or have been provided. So we'll walk you through, does this have alternative? You know what, I'm going to start this specific review. Is this video live streaming? No, not. And then does it have sound? I didn't actually click on it, so I'm not going to go too much further down, but then you'll continue this review and you'll be able to then make that determination of, hey, it's meeting the standard, or no, it's not, and then it's going to throw it into the issues category. But they're both important, potential issues and issues, and using that point system that we have set up as I click around for this, kind of take my hand off the mouse for the share screen, this is a really good option to be able to determine what do we need to focus on. And maybe it is a goal for first half of fall semesters. We want to go through and review our potential issues. We can get a big point jump. We can actually have the confidence that we've reviewed X amount of pages for this, and they're not going to appear on the website. So that's what I kind of wanted to, that's what I wanted to talk about scoring. Issues and potential issues. We've really spent a lot of time trying to investigate, what is this point system and what can be done with it. And I highly recommend, because a lot of these, you may already meet the standards and potential issues, and you're able to approve within the system. So that was about 50 minutes of content. I jumped all over from dashboards to troubleshooting broken links, to how Siteimprove is collecting data and when we're refreshing, into accessibility, with a couple just dropping almost nothings of SEO, policy, and the other parts. But I hope today was beneficial. Please let us know if you want more of these, if you want something else to cover. And then I'm going to hang out for a bit to see if any other questions come in. But for everyone that needs to jump off, feel free to leave and we'll make the recording available. And again, thanks for joining today.